before you know it, you're in the bracket with them. And it's that level of self-dedication that I think pays off in the form of, hey, here they are now. They're in the Quake Pro League and they're playing on a weekly basis. They're getting sent to Italy. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, and all that dedication pays off in some way.
And they're not doing poorly at all. I mean, they might not be topping the rankings or the global leaderboards like Rafa or the Hang are, but they definitely aren't near the bottom and at risk of being eliminated either. And here we go. First map of this series. We've got psygib, we've got cha1n. We're starting this one off on cha1n, who's running his Galena on Ruins of Sarnath.
I think the Visor versus Galena matchup, nice and classic and traditional, but
yeah,
psygib has popped his piercing sight, and that's something you can always grow to expect, that Visor players will kind of use that piercing sight at the beginning of the map just to get that information. Ooh, rocket, baby. That's a good one.
That was such a quick reaction on the rocket, and cha1n, I think he was just stunned and was like, there's no way such a quick rocket is actually going to hit me. And then before you know it, there's a lot of damage coming out of it. Still a totem right next to heavy. Is psygib even going to notice that? Because again, we've pointed it out time and time again. You gotta kill those totems. You gotta get rid of them. Because before you know it, your opponent's got a portable mega that they can use anytime, anywhere.
Nice and evenly matched at the beginning, with the exception of that rail, which was unreturned. But now, it is returned just a couple of shots later. psygib now looking to stack back up, but the timing and I feel like the control is going to be in the favor of cha1n for now, and thanks to the totem that wasn't checked, he doesn't have to worry about his health as much.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's how it starts. That's how the steamroll might begin, and right now cha1n is going to jump down to that same totem. Look at that, it's going to put two down at the same time, even going to loop back around for that little bit of health, and bam, there you go, 170 health, the maximum amount possible in Quake Champions, and he didn't even have to go anywhere near the mega health to get it.
Optimization too, to make sure that the small health bubble is the one that gives him the initial health, so that it can tick off the passive and cool down the next totem. And he's got so much health, is he going to die anyway? No, thanks to the totems once again. And I mean, if you need to have a look as to why Galena is such a popular champion, look no further.
But still, look at that. psygib didn't even take mega or anything. He had no major items. He drops down, and did you see how much damage he did? That's what I mean when I'm saying he's a heavy hitter. cha1n, with a mega stack, still ended up almost dying right there, just because psygib was pounding him with that much damage. And he's gonna take heavy once again, starting to put together some nice control.
Speaking of control, I like the positioning of those totems though, because cha1n, you know, normally in these situations, you look at this setup and you'd go, oh man, he was sitting around in heavy for so long, he had no choice but to completely give up mega. But if he has his own portable mega on command, who cares whether he's up there or not? You know, he's able to waste a bunch of time, he's keeping a lead by a small amount anyway, and now he's fully stacked up. He has got a totem if he needs it, he's going to dash in towards. Is that enough? Yes, it will be. psygib is going to fall again, and the heavy has that final reward.
And I'm actually very happy to see cha1n do that too, because very often, or rather frequently, you'll see players and they'll actually set up their totems at the mega side. So in the end, they will have mega, but they also have their totems, but it doesn't really amount to much because they've already got that much health from the mega. So it's really nice to see cha1n put those totems down at heavy so that he can essentially ignore mega completely and still reach his optimal maximum stack.
Well, this control has been almost entirely in the favor of cha1n so far. And every time psygib's trying to challenge him, just like that, he's eating a ton of damage, and cha1n's hitting these important rails just to keep him away.
And that was even psygib had piercing side active right there, and he still lost the rail engagement, so cha1n is looking so charmed right now.
Another good rocket. Is he going to go in for the... Yeah, it doesn't need the teleport. It's far too obvious in that situation, but the control remains in his favor. psygib used it. He has a defense touch just in case piercing sight's been popped, but I wonder if that's even going to mean anything. Knocked into the totem! The two-piece rocket totem combo with fries.
Yeah, and now cha1n has got so little to worry about. psygib has next to nothing. No weapons, all he's got is the rocket launcher. cha1n knows this. If he can take the fight from a medium distance, but look at that, the rockets are surprisingly good. cha1n kind of putting himself in the danger zone right there. That final rail is going to cripple his opponent, but luckily mega is there for psygib, and he will turn it around, getting his first frag of this matchup.
That rail would have been quite a denial rail, but didn't quite hit its mark. Quite a desperate situation there. And now, Turp comes down just to try and get in the way as much as possible, but oh no, he misjudged the jump pad timing, but cha1n definitely dead anyway.
cha1n just coming down with the gauntlet spinning. psygib says no. Machine Gun will take care of that little problem for him. And he's looking to tie things up rather quickly as well. At this point, I don't think cha1n has any totems to his name, nothing to work with in terms of that extra healing, and it's immediately visible what that effect has, or what effect that has on the match.
Because now the stack is in the favor of psygib. He's able to be a little bit more brave with his decisions too, right? Because he was always fighting a default stack.
Yeah.
He didn't have much over it. cha1n had the level of control thanks to the totems that every time he tried to make something happen, he just takes a bunch of damage, either dies or is forced away.
Oh.
And now, what a rail. Needs a few more of those. Oh. Slightly misses, but piercing sight stops the bleeding a bit, and he hasn't got the health to rocket jump. And he hasn't even got the ammo to rocket jump, so that's unfortunate.
He's gonna give up quite a lot to cha1n, it seems. He will be losing out on the heavy. That's risky. What a risky play, actually. Like, I don't know about that one, psygib. He will go down surely at this point. Yeah, I don't think I should have been waiting around trying to catch him for a rocket right there. It was such a risky play, and cha1n didn't even move in the position that he needed him to be in, and then just punished him mercilessly.
And now cha1n keeping that high ground controlled. He knows the heavy's about to spawn, but does he go down and fight? Yeah, he is going to go in, but yeah, it doesn't overextend. I like that positioning, actually. And now he's at least got timing. Has the lead anyway, so no need to really push something to happen too much.
Yeah.
Mega's going to be up soon. Thanks to this totem, it should be a little bit easier for him.
He still has to maintain some control of the map at least, because there's 4 minutes left for just 2 frags. There's no way that cha1n can just play the runaway game from this point on out, especially up against the visor. But those rockets into the LG, stellar combo. psygib even had the piercing sight at the ready, but still wasn't prepared to deal with that level of aggression.
Well, piercing sight's going to be on cooldown now, so he's going to have to rely on his own senses for the time being, but cha1n forcing away near Mega again. psygib fresh off the spawn. There's really not much he was going to be able to use there to fight for it, so has to wait for another full rotation of the Mega before he can make something happen. Heavy about to spawn too, and once more psygib showing a lot of respect here. He knows that he can't really just, you know, forward roll into the heavy because he stands no chance.
Yeah. psygib's saving grace at this point might just be that cha1n only has 1 totem up. If he had 2 or 3 ready already, I'd really think it would be nearly impossible for psygib to mount a comeback at this point. But the fact that cha1n only has 1 on the field right now is going to work tremendously in his favor. But if he keeps hitting rails like that, psygib is going to struggle getting back into this.
Yeah, I guess sometimes it's not just a matter of making sure you've got more health, it's making sure they've got less.
Yeah.
So as long as those rails keep hitting their mark, especially near the teleport there too.
Yeah, I like that little totem. He clearly saw where psygib was going and decided to put it down preemptively. Oh, this is risky for psygib, taking so much damage. Does manage to brute force his way onto the Mega, but misses the kill shot. Can't find the rail he needs, but he's going to push in.
Well, that totem's going to give cha1n all the information he needs to run away, and run away is going to be the objective now. We're just over the 2-minute mark of this map being over with 3 frags left to go. Is he going to look for another shot? The rocket jump is good, but cha1n 1 step ahead. He's ready for that outcome.
Yep. Not quite the 5 steps that Rafa is always ahead, but still, he was ready for it. Rail in hand, and he lands all of the important shots right now. We saw that earlier as well. psygib takes Mega. cha1n will land rail when you're trying to move away out of the room. You try to jump up to him, he'll rail you right back down. So cha1n perfect use of the railgun, and psygib unable to really do anything against it.
But it feels like right now it's just a textbook runaway game. cha1n normally trying to establish. Even now, this is a bit of a weird situation, but even manages to land a 100 damage rocket. By all accounts, psygib could still die here. That is the worst place to get hit by a 100 damage rocket when you desperately need a frag.
Yeah.
And now it's just time being wasted, right, to restack back up.
And that was such a good position for psygib too, because cha1n was stuck at the bottom of the map with nothing but 1 single health bubble behind that small piece of wall, and psygib had the stack advantage, he had the positional advantage, and Mega was about to spawn in a way that he could easily take it. And then something like that happens, the direct out of nowhere. But here we go, psygib will be able to clean this one up. 2 frags, 1 minute to go. It's possible, but it's difficult.
Well, he saved his piercing sight for when the time is right, and he's just fresh off the spawn near heavy. But I love that positioning with cha1n. Let's just try and maximize our annoyance factor. Wonderful rail. Needs a lot more work though. cha1n pretty weak. This should be a refrag. What's the spawn going to be? Oh. That's actually kind of unfortunate, because can he even refrag with his health? Yes, he can. Thanks to the Mega. Yeah. Catches him near the rail.
No LG ammo though. psygib's got to be aware of that. Is he going to look to stack back up? He will, getting himself some more of those valuable cells.
Now or never though, 20 seconds on the clock. You need to get one frag and you need it now, mate.
Yeah, he heard that. I think he's got a pretty good idea of where cha1n is right now. Yep, and again, the rocket not really gonna do any damage, but he's gonna chase. He knows he has to. Oh, the rail
the positioning
doesn't come out.
Rocket jump and the teleporter, so that's it. There's no way.
Yep.
No way at all. Surely not. He just needed like an extra second.
Yeah, that was painfully close, I feel like, in the end. I think he I don't really know what happened when he went off the bounce pad, if he like fumbled his movement a little bit, but at the top it seemed like he was stuck behind the wall for like a second longer than he needed to be, and so he couldn't really land the shot before cha1n was already around the corner. I don't know how much that contributed, but it feels like a real wasted effort, or opportunity rather.
I mean, it's always a shame when you look at the final moment and it's like, what could I have done differently there when I had like 1 second left?
Yeah.
He hit the rail, you know, he hit the rail. You see, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. But fundamentally, that was just really well played by cha1n. The early, I think, security that was set up, thanks to those totems, I mean, they made a world of difference. Every time a fight broke out, you know, psygib realized quickly, you know, to give him his respect, he realized almost immediately that the totems were a problem, and he started to deal with them. But after that, cha1n was just playing well. He was just hitting some immaculate shots, playing that control game, and then right in the last minute switched it up to run away when the time was right. You know, he didn't start running away too early. That was just hilarious, that frag, honestly.
Right back down. cha1n knew that was the end for him right there, but yeah, I feel like psygib did do a really good job at bringing it back though. At least for the middle part of the game, because breaking such solid control from a Galena with plenty of totems to work with, very difficult to do, but he managed to pull through in the end. And look at this, this one gets pretty close to going wrong because he runs out of ammo, survives with 14 points of health, and here we once again see misses that rail, and then he lands the final one, and psygib almost tying it up, forcing it into overtime, but not quite.
Watching that replay, he survived. I've got to say that's about 10 HP.
Yeah,
surely.
It looked like it.
And it had to be 10. But if that mounted a comeback, though, that would have been probably the most clutch sudden death I think we would have seen in QPL so far, because that was quite literally the last second. But that was one map. We're now going into Molten Falls. So that's going to be, there's going to be similar shades, but we know that size doesn't always mean the same when it comes to how you approach maps and stuff like that. Molten Falls, all I can really go by this is that if psygib's able to play the way he played at the end of Ruins, it's still going to be hard to predict, because cha1n was ahead for most of that, but psygib's comeback was looking really impressive.
Yeah, for a while I thought he really had it in the bag, but then of course cha1n manages to stabilize. He manages to at least build 1, maybe 2 totems back up, steal a major item, and then things start going the wrong way again for psygib, missing a few important shots. But as quickly as we ended the last match, we are jumping into the next one. This is map 2. First one went to cha1n in the very end, and we're watching him once again on his Nyx versus psygib's Ranger.
Now, we've seen Nyx have mixed results today, but we'll see if that's going to be enough on Molten. I think on a map like this, especially when there is some real potential to get caught in bad spots with, especially the heavy.
Yeah,
I think that Ghost Walk's going to go a long way, but cha1n looking for his moment first. psygib, a bit more stack to work with, and almost a dead even split actually between Mega and Heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to see which one of them's going to be the first to create that divide. There it is. That's going to stay exactly the same for now.
You also very clearly see both players prioritizing weapons at the start. They're not really going for any fights or anything spectacular just yet, but they're both like, okay, I'm gonna get my base weapons, gonna get my rail, my rockets, and my lightning gun, just so I've got the unholy trinity moving into what could be probably the most important frag of the matchup. That first one very often ends up deciding so much. That's an excellent rail cha1n, almost sailing off the map right there. psygib doesn't quite manage to pull that through though.
Heavy's going to get taken immediately. cha1n's going to try and do some entry damage. The Ghost Walk's available if he needs it. He is going to chase it in back. psygib taking loads of damage. Are we going to see it used? We are indeed. Does he chase? Is it going to disengage? No, not at all. Oh. Yeah, cha1n getting away with his life for that one, but put pretty far behind, honestly. Yeah, having to go to those small health bubbles.
Yeah,
psygib, he knows he's got a good situation here, especially if he hits a rail.
Yeah. Definitely a stack advantage we're seeing for psygib right now, but Heavy, I don't think he'll be able to get there on time. Chain's gotta get out quickly though. Pretty good read from cha1n, but he takes a rail in the back, and look at that, he's already back down to just 75 points of armor. And here we go, we're seeing another engagement, and psygib will be the one to take home the first frag of the day, or rather of this map. And let's see if he can turn it into anything more.
Absolutely perfect time to catch him. You know, cha1n was going a little bit around that corner. He did almost have his ghost walk back. I think that's why psygib was pressing to say, maybe if I can catch him before, you know, the ability has cooled down, then it's a great opportunity! Off you go! See you later.
And that's literally a repeat of what we just saw, except for, you know, the knock off the map, but nope. psygib taking the same round over to Heavy. cha1n trying to get away this exact same way. Look at that, a trap!
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Exactly 100 health.
That's for humiliating
That's just
me.
the amount of damage that a direct rocket ends up doing. psygib still one frag in the lead though, but it will be cha1n to take Heavy. Can he punish once again? Rocket will not do any damage. The ghost walk comes out.
And he's jumping.
Push in.
Yeah, he's going to jump down into a rail though for his troubles. This fight's going to break out cha1n. Can retreat to rockets if he needs. He has got 4 left, but now he's going to go for the chase all the same.
Yeah.
Getting some of that stock back up. And there you go. Thank you very much for some rockets, and we're locked and loaded.
cha1n has the better timing on the mega health. He picked it up last time as well. He's got the better positioning as well. Heavy will be going to psygib though. There's not that much time in between the two of them, around 4 seconds, so it makes it very difficult for one player to get both without delaying anything for a future rotation. cha1n making perfect use of that wall jump to get all the way over to the shotgun, but takes a rail and takes yet another one. psygib, he might actually go aggressively right here. Good opportunity to use the orb, but he doesn't want to, because at this point he figures that cha1n definitely has the ghost walk and can just evade him and basically burn his own ability as well.
Oh, but he actually chooses to forego the Mega first. I think he kind of knows that cha1n was unlikely to take that fight towards Mega. Let's try and get maybe a frag or some damage, then retreat to Mega to make that divide and stack even greater than it once was. But it has, again, created a pretty sizable delay in between the two pickups. So that's either going to be an opportunity for cha1n if he gets a frag and establish control, or if psygib gets a frag, just an opportunity for him to extend his lead even further.
Yeah. cha1n is doing a really good job at keeping that Mega low though. I think this is the third time in a row that he's hit a rail from this exact position that he's in right now. Just as psygib picks up Mega, he just lands a rail, and there you go. Instantly, most of that stack, most of that boost gone right away. Now cha1n, nice rail, knowing exactly where psygib is going to be, and that rocket too, beautiful, 84 damage out of nowhere it seems.
Now I guess we have to see what he gets off it, because that delay in between Mega and Heavy does still exist. cha1n trying to keep a little bit of high ground as quickly as we can, but psygib ready with the position, I like it.
I almost feel like cha1n did not intend to walk down there.
And, well, that jump pad, I'm not really sure what that was. That was just knocked back down into it, and that's just the worst place to be. We've all been there before.
Yeah, absolutely. Very few ways of escaping some situations like that. And psygib, 2 frags in the lead with 5 minutes left on the clock. This is looking pretty good. A turnaround from what we saw earlier, and cha1n is forced to use his Ghost Hawk. He stays up there, though. Perfect juke from cha1n.
He's going to lose his Ghost Walk, and he's going to have to give up the heavy armor, though, unfortunately. But as long as he's alive and he's not allowing psygib to extend his lead, but as we now have approached that 5-minute warning, psygib has been consistently more in control. His stack has been much better as well. And the Ghost Walk has kept cha1n alive, but it's not really led to much else so far. But in this position now, psygib, he knows he has the timing on the Heavy, so he's just looking to maybe try and extend that lead even further, looking to push in, but you know, he can't see it. But cha1n's nowhere to be found. He was completely content to give it up, but cha1n's not in a position where he can lay a trap just yet. He hasn't got the stack to work with. One close range direct, and he's actually at risk of just being deleted afterwards.
Yeah. I feel like we're not really seeing many variations in how this map is going. No, there's no like real switch-ups between moving fast or slower, defensively or aggressively. Both players just keep playing somewhat the same game. They run their item and try to do damage on the other person. That rail though, so close. psygib does manage to stack up above it, and he's gonna push in. cha1n has very little to work with, although he did pick up Heavy right there, but he doesn't have the Ghost Walk for another half minute. This could be an excellent opportunity for psygib to at least extend his lead by another frag. Mega up in just 2 seconds. Does he know that cha1n's right below him?
he's going to drop down and cha1n's not even going to take that risk. And to be honest, I don't blame him. He's now going to retreat towards heavy again. I think at this point, maybe trying to establish a little bit of health. But he's going to run full speed ahead into psygib, who uses the dire orb, and he picks up a frag at the same time. Wonderful decision, and it is going to pay off. And here comes the heavy as a reward. Then again, fresh off the spawn, even with that armor, cha1n's in a spot of bother. He's going to chase it all the way. Ride or die.
Can he land the final shot? Oh, he knows what's coming. psygib knows what's right behind him. Now,
he's right.
Perfect timing too, but cha1n ultimately decided not to go through with it all the way, realizing that it would probably be a death sentence for him, as we see right here again. And right now, 2.5 minutes left on the clock. psygib looking solid.
I mean, that's a horrendous time to get caught, right? You know, the two big pickups have just gone in the favor of psygib. He knows that cha1n has run towards light armor and rail, because that's realistically the only place he could have ran to stock up. So when a fight breaks out, I mean, what kind of stack was cha1n going to be sitting on? Like, it's pretty obvious to see that he was going to be weak, so...
Yeah,
psygib very intelligently just going, hey, I have no reason to not take this fight.
Yeah, and again, very well played by psygib, because he knows that Mega will be up and waiting for him over to his backside, so he can just turn around and vacate the area. And here we go, he's gonna push in once again. Yeah, cha1n at this point has to be desperate, has to be overly aggressive, and psygib has the answer for it.
This is the time. The frag difference is probably going to escalate quite significantly. Looking for another rail shot. On return, psygib at this point. Ooh, nice little rocket jump actually, just to lose the angle, but he overstayed his welcome just a little bit too long, but he's been able to reposition all the same. That was an interesting turn of events.
psygib playing defrag for a moment there, just rocket jump bouncing all over the place. And in the end, can you blame him? Blame him rather. 5 frags in the lead, 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go. cha1n needs a miracle. And I think that that might have sealed the deal fully. No miracles are coming. cha1n looks like he will take a loss.
Yeah, we've definitely seen. I think we've seen Nyx have mixed results throughout the course of today, and you know, cha1n. And what's happening is, and you know, it's not. I'm not pinning this entirely on the champions themselves. I'm just saying that we're definitely seeing a lot of situations where cha1n is being caught without Ghost Walk, and it's like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know, like he's positioning himself, and he is able to survive a fair amount, but clearly that doesn't really echo in his frag to death difference. You know, psygib just has these amazing fights, goes in for the orb again, by all accounts should get it, but the rocket's going to be good from cha1n, finally manages to get himself on the board, and now it's about how much can he stop the bleeding.
Actually, 2 frags. He's gotten 2 frags already, but he's taking so much damage in doing so that he's left with next to nothing, and he just doesn't have the resources to make a comeback happen. But hello, 30 seconds, 3 frags. Did we speak too soon?
Maybe.
cha1n, he's got an opportunity, but he needs to be so fast. And look, he finds psygib, but
it.
oh no!
I think that miss honestly might be it. Like, you need to hit absolutely everything with 20 seconds left.
He needs to hit that one. psygib goes out of bounce pad. He hits the second one before he disappears, and that's what needed to be done. He couldn't pull it off, and that will be psygib taking map 2. So no matter what happens, actually, we were already right that it's not going to be 3-0.
Indeed, it's close, and it's kind of what we expected to see in terms of results. We have one more map to get through, but to be honest, yeah, I'm glad that we're seeing things go as close as they are.
Yeah.
But that was just psygib just having some, honestly, just fantastic combat skill with Ranger.
Yeah.
Like his knowledge of when to go in, when to use the orb. Obviously, when he was forcing the Ghost Walk out of cha1n, obviously he had the cooldown in his head the entire time as well. It was just, all in all, some fantastic micromanagement.
And also very good item control. You saw at the very end there at the scoreboard that psygib was outdoing cha1n on just about every item, especially Mega. I think he had 10 more Megas than his opponent, and of course, those are the kinds of things that make the difference when it comes to these matches. And look at that, this risky push does end up working out for him. And yeah, this was the opportunity or the situation where cha1n no longer had his Ghost Walk. And psygib just starts stringing the frags together. No mercy.
And a lot of those frags were coming from him. Look how many replays are happening near Mega or Heavy, and a fair amount of those frags were, and even here, it just continues to go.
Yeah.
But in this case, obviously, cha1n was able to pick it up at the last minute. But yeah, it was just coming down to the fact that psygib was a lot more stacked, and that dire orb made a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
Because I almost feel like cha1n wasn't really respecting it too much.
Yeah, he definitely put himself in a lot of situations where he was well within reach and within danger of that die orb doing a lot of damage. And when you're a squishy champion like Nyx, I mean, I've said this time and time again, but the amount of damage you take is not equal across all champions. If you take 90 damage from a rail or an orb and you're Keel with a full stack, or you're Nyx, that's a whole world of difference, because when you're Nyx, you can take 2, maybe 2.5 of those, and you're done. Whereas a big champion or a medium champion can take so much more of a beating. So you gotta really respect the subtle or the instant damage coming out of those orbs, especially when you're a small champion.
Okay, so our next map should be Blood Covenant. So it's actually been quite a nice example of just range, right? And it's been a open space of maps in general, pretty much 100%. But the champion selection, this is kind of what we were excited to see. Anarchy and Athena.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Anarchy on the side of cha1n, and it's going to be Athena on the side of psygib. Blood Covenant is a wonderful map for that kind of mobility. And with the fact that it is already 1-1, and it's already kind of close, I don't know how to call this final map at all.
I mean, I'm going to stick with my initial prediction.
Oh,
I'm
always.
Say psygib. I mean, you can't change it now, of
I'm
course.
not changing it.
I'm on the psygib boat all the way. You can be on the cha1n train as we jump.
I was about to say the cha1n train. God, great minds think alike.
Stealing your thunder once again. Sorry about that. As we're starting this one off on psygib's point of view, taking Mega, and look at that, using the hook to just get across the map, and the LG damage coming out is strong. cha1n has to get out. Will he be able to? Looks like psygib won't fully commit to a chase. He still had 1 hook left, but I think he realized that it wouldn't do that much good.
He went for as much as he could there, but he ran out of LG ammo too, so I guess that assault was going to be stopped right there, but there's a huge ton of LG damage.
That was not a good decision for psygib. He was kind of stuck in that small doorway where his opponent had a lot more range to move around in, and he also didn't have much LG left to work with, and rockets are very inconsistent and risky at that range. And now cha1n, after taking quite a bit of a beating at the start, actually managing to get the better stack and secure both items.
I really love even small details like that, where during the rail cooldown you would otherwise be a sitting duck. Just the ability to use your hook in between the cooldown. Speaking of which, going in, using the damage of the hook to get some entry damage, and the from the grave, indicating a trade has just happened with those rockets.
Yeah, and that's something you see very rarely at this level. Damage coming out of the hook itself, very, very uncommon and infrequent to occur in the Quake Pro League. But after that trade, we're immediately going to see cha1n will be the one picking up heavy, whereas psygib gets a hold of the Mega, and just about at the exact same time as well.
Now cha1n's going to be in an interesting position. His only ranged weapon right now is going to be that heavy machine gun. He's kind of desperate for a railgun, but doesn't really have the time to go away and detour to collect it. And yeah, now he has to try and disengage anyway, but psygib's more than aware. Hang on a minute. There's that temporary moment of trying to stop the Mega. Like giving cha1n a little bit of room to run away. Yeah. Going for the heavy is a bit risky though with his health, and he knows that psygib's running to take it. And I think that was honestly a game of spawns. You know, cha1n didn't have the rail when psygib did. It made a pretty big difference to that Mega exchange there, and ultimately how he chose to run away too. Yeah.
And psygib also played that to perfection, because you know that when you're up against a heavy machine gun with a railgun, you need to hit the random or the occasional shot, but the heavy machine gun, that's constant damage coming out. So psygib played that perfectly by dodging in and out of cover and then only shooting for a brief second before hiding his face again. But there we go, instantly psygib getting another frag on the board, 2-1, and he's picking up both Mega and Heavy.
Excellent rail to open with. He's going to try and go in for the kill now. cha1n, nowhere near enough stack to be comfortable. No armor. He's trying to juke near the teleporter, which, to be fair, has worked out quite well for him, but as he retreats now, he needs to go in with those just regular, normal old pickups. Jump pads popped, but after the injection, already undone by a rail shot. psygib just making life nice and difficult for cha1n right now. The Heavy's going to spawn as well, but not really on their mind. psygib, I think he's just got cha1n on the end of a string, honestly.
Yeah, at this point, it sure is looking like he's going to get himself some more railgun ammo as well. Try to get positioning on Mega. That's the next major item to spawn. I think he's got a pretty good idea. Oh, maybe not at all, I was about to say. cha1n just standing there, belting him with heavy machine gun bullets. But Mega will be going to psygib, and look at that, he's landing a good amount of damage, and cha1n is fighting for survival right now. psygib, is he going to drop down and try and secure the small armor as well?
He's timing it. He's had the jump pad go off, and it is these pivotal rails. And the rails have been what's been keeping cha1n so far behind, and it's kind of allowing psygib to continuously run that.
Yeah.
Top floor circuit, I suppose you'd call it, but
Yeah.
a bit of a damage to say. Hello, that's
Yep.
where I am.
And as I said, rails on small champions, they do a lot more than on large champions, so you gotta be real careful. 1 rail, 2 rails, that can change the outcome of an entire game at this point. So psygib definitely has to be a little bit careful with where he positions himself and still remain aware constantly of where his opponent might be.
Ooh. That rail's going to knock him straight back down from where he came from, and you mentioned right how important rails can be. That harpoon is going to catch him on the stairs a little bit, actually, so he didn't quite get the speed he was after, but he has survived, so that's the important thing. Going in for some rocket damage, but hasn't hit it splash just yet. Nice little stream of LG, but it's not going to be enough. This vertical fight's going to happen, and it's going to be cha1n dedicating 100%, forcing a trade again. Suicide doesn't matter, that's just straight up 1-to-1, and now we're back where we started. psygib had a pretty good spawn, to be honest, rocket launcher and rail.
Yeah, psygib definitely got the better end of the deal right there. He's gotten the heavy spawn, the rocket spawn, and what a beautiful rocket to the face. And now he knows that if he's fast enough, he can get over to Mega.
Looking for
cha1n
it.
fell back down.
And the Mega still hasn't been collected yet. psygib at the very least is probably going to get some timing if he hears it.
5-minute warning.
More ammo's been taken. 5-minute warning, and it is crazy to me how you can always see these 2 light champions. You'd think it's going to be frag after frag after frag, and it's just isn't sometimes. You know, it's all about just how you constantly disengage. Your ability to run off and collect these small pickups is greatly enhanced. And there's 1 rail. cha1n, decides not to pink for too much longer.
I really do hope we get to see psygib actually do the swing with the hook and not just a straight on pull, because it's so wonderful when he's done well at these highest levels of Quake. psygib so far running the map very nicely, getting himself all the items that he needs. And cha1n is looking for a way in, but so far hasn't been able to find it.
psygib using those grapple hooks to put on the chokehold, force cha1n away from where he would otherwise try and be. Sitting near bridge to just try and shut down some of this control. LG knocking him away. Wonderful use of the weapon actually swap there, just to keep psygib away from the bridge if possible, and now we're going back into that Mega. But this is the kind of moment where cha1n, he needs to kind of force psygib away and then use that Mega to gain some momentum. What psygib's able to do is just lay this pressure on and disengage. Here comes 1 rail. He's looking for a lot more where that came from. And he's going in with LG, but the rocket is too good. psygib, he's so close to death, and he finally drops. cha1n chases it down with a machine gun.
Good decision from cha1n to drop down right there. He realized and called correctly that his opponent was so low that 1 more bullet would essentially end it all right there, and he manages to tie things up 2-2. psygib's got to be careful because he's definitely outstacked right now, and if he loses this engagement, cha1n still has the Mega to pick right back up and continue the fight, whereas he has got nothing to work with, and that's exactly what's happening. psygib next to no health to his name, but cha1n is looking extremely healthy. Is it even gonna go for heavy? But once more damage, and he'll find just that. 1 more good shot will finish it.
However, he's really worried about the angle that he's giving up at the same time. Even if psygib is crazy weak, light versus light, I mean, 1 good rail from either side can just change the tide of a fight quite significantly. But here comes the injection and the grappling hook. It's not going to be enough, and cha1n surviving with barely any stack left.
2 HP. psygib, he's going to be regretting that one when he watches the VOD at a later point. Landing an excellent rail right there. cha1n railable for a moment, does manage to stack himself right back up to 110 points of health.
As that rail, again, just keeping them behind, right? That's the objective here. Heavy's going to get taken eventually anyway. We are nearing the injection territory, though, for cha1n. Almost has it ready to go, but here comes the Mega. Needs to be a little bit mindful of that. Yeah, keep that rockets, keep them far away. Now it should be free time to trade it out. Pretty chunky delay in between Mega and Heavy at the same time here. Who's going to get that first rail? Oh, looks like it's going to be psygib. That jump pad, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of information to say, right, where's it going to be? Ooh, could have been something, but not quite.
Yeah, Heavy about to spawn. psygib is actually going to go extremely aggressively right there. He knows he's got some armor where his opponent has got none to work with, and there we go. Oh.
Actually, almost, I think, honestly, a benefit for psygib that didn't happen, so he didn't get hit by the rail.
Unless he would have let go just a second before he reached the top. But look at that. cha1n's rockets are being so good right now. A lot of damage taken away from psygib, and he is railable once again. cha1n, despite losing out on the items, still putting out the damage and keeping his opponent at bay.
psygib doing a wonderful job of restacking back up, though, thanks to the amount of small pickups that are scattered around the map. Misses the rail, because that was very much just a peak shot, just trying to establish some difference right before this Mega comes. But that does mean that cha1n's got to prepare for the fight, because no doubt psygib's going to be on the way. Here it comes. A bunch of damage coming in. swapping to the rocket, but this time there's going to be no trade at all. psygib gets the frag, and he's equalized again, Flea.
Yeah, absolutely. Using that hook to its maximum effectiveness, just getting straight onto the Mega, bullying his opponent down, and landing some excellent rockets to secure himself the frag, and tying things right back up. Excellent rail to open things up. Another one, but at this point, psygib is railable himself. He still is. He's got to be so careful going up that bounce pad. Oh, I'm clenching for him. He does find the Mega though, but that was a risky play.
Very well could be into sudden death territory here. I feel like it is going to ultimately come down to just one frag, but with how fast these guys are going and the fact that they pretty much have every weapon they could want, that Unholy Trinity is locked and loaded. psygib, though, in big trouble. Here comes the grappling hook. They're trying to escape, but he gets fumbled. A failure of execution. He's going to pay dearly for it.
Yeah, hits too close to the wall and essentially knocks himself into the door frame rather than into the teleporter itself, and it's going to cost him 4-3, and right now, look at that. cha1n has got the stack advantage, he's got the positional advantage, and he's just waiting for Mega. He knows that he can pick it up at any time, but he's gonna wait until the last moment to get as much utility out of it as humanly possible. And right now, psygib needs to do something incredible to tie things back up. He's gonna correctly guess where cha1n is at, but unfortunately for him, unable to do any more damage, and that will beat cha1n. Taking it 2-1. Your prediction was indeed spot on.
But what I tell you what, at that point, I guess even honestly, I think our prediction doesn't even matter. Like, that was so close,
yeah,
and literally down to the last frag in the last like 30 seconds. That could have gone either way until the very, very end. And even though, granted, the death came from the failure of grappling hook execution, I kind of feel like psygib was probably already dead there anyway. That just kind of made him die faster. You know, he's probably going to use the teleporter and just get tickled on by a machine gun or something. But what was a crazy, crazy final map that was. And, you know, they were both hitting some crazy shots and they were both playing well. It ultimately did literally come down to that one final play at the end. And that's kind of where I'm a bit nervous, because these guys are kind of similar in points and they're similar in how they've been placing throughout the QPL. If there's ever a situation where they're kind of looking at that one bit of points they fell short, that one fight at the end, who knows how much of a difference that